Algebra. We are in the last section of 6.5. We have been learning so much about multiplying polynomials together, and now we're going to apply it to different situations. And let's take a look. We're going to write a polynomial that represents the area of a dulcimer that has a height of h, and our first base is 2h minus 1, and our second base is h plus 1. And they gave us the formula. That's really typical in algebra to, if you're not used to working with the formula, they'll give it to you. There are some things that they're just, I know the state test makers, they are real picky. They just think you should know this formula. We shouldn't have to tell you because it's such a typical algebra formula. All right, so let's take a look. Just remember, a typical trapezoid, it's going to have parallel sides, okay? One pair of parallel sides. The other two sides are not going to end up being parallel at all. And so we see trapezoids. If you watch ice hockey, you'll see the area behind the goalie is a trapezoid. And they actually call it a trapezoid in the game. When you hear the announcers, they'll say, oh, the goalie's in the trapezoid area, which is just the area behind his goal, is what that is. So we do have usage of this particular structure. So what we want to do is we want to take the formula for the area of a trapezoid, which is going to be 0.5 times h times the sum of your two bases. So what we want to do is we want to plug in what we do know for what we don't know. And h is going to remain the same. So keep h there, but the bases, we're going to put in for base 1, 2h minus 1, plus the second base, which is h plus 1. And we really need to go ahead and consolidate the inside of the parentheses. We have like terms. We're not multiplying just yet. We do want to add and do what it says there. 2h plus h is going to give me 3h. Okay? And negative 1 plus positive 1 is 0. You don't need to write 0. The last thing we need to do, we've got 0.5h times 3h. And we need to go ahead and, this is multiplying two monomials together. We need to go ahead and multiply them together. So 0.5 times 3, let's see here. I guess that's 1.5. And then h times h is h squared. So this is the consolidated, simplified polynomial that represents the area of this particular trapezoid that has those two bases and that height of h. Now letter B, they want us to use our formula, 1.5h squared, and plug in 22 inches for the height. So what I want you to do for this one, I'll give this one as extra credit, I want you to plug in the 22 and solve. And we'll check this in class tomorrow. C, I'm going to get started for you. I'm going to let you carry it out ultimately. Remember, to find the area of a rectangle, you're going to do length times width or base times height, either one. Length times width or base times height, same thing. And they give you some information about your rectangle. Okay, I like drawing a picture. I think a picture helps. It's a great visual reminder, helps you lay out your thoughts. Okay, the length of a rectangle is 4 meters shorter than its width. Well, let's call the width W. They just told us that the length, another way we could say length is 4 meters shorter than the width. So that means I need to take 4 away from the W. So now here's my length. I'll put kind of a little cursive L there. Here's my width, and you need to calculate the area. That's going to be number 1. Okay, then after you do that and you get your consolidated area using, the W and the W minus 4, then plug in 6 for the W. Okay, now I recognize you can plug the 6 in right now and figure it out very, very easily, but I do want you to practice your distributing of your monomial to a binomial, etc. and so forth. So although I do recognize there are easier ways to do this, I would like you to go ahead and execute number 1 and 2 in letter C and plug in B into your calculator. Okay? Thank you for complying. I appreciate that as always, and we will talk in class tomorrow.